Do I, 14 male, call the police on my mum's hit and run? Mum was driving me to school this week. She was taking a turn and obviously wasn't looking because she took the turn wide and hit a kid from school who was riding to the bike racks. He was in the other lane that goes the other way. Our car went over him and I heard him yell out, "I don't like, no, him, but he's in a different year than me." After that happened, Mum just kept driving. I told her we need to call the police or ambulance or something. Mum just kept saying that he swerved and hit her and that we don't call the police if we did nothing wrong. She told me to keep quiet and knows I'll do the right thing. I saw a photo on Insta of him in the hospital and he's all bruised and looks rough as guts. I've just been feeling really bad and it's like I can't eat and feel like throwing up. It's like Mum did something really wrong and it feels really bad to not say anything. I wasn't even allowed to tell Dad about it, but him and Mum are divorced and I'm not allowed to tell him lots of things. If I tell someone, Mum will probably get arrested and then it'll be my fault. I don't know and want to stop feeling so bad. Do I tell on my mum or not? I'm on team, tell your dad. This is too big for a 14-year-old to deal with, and you need support around this that your mom is incapable of providing. Your dad needs to know all of this, including how you feel, and your mom is wrong to tell you not to seek his help. If your mom is arrested, it's not your fault. It's her fault. You tried to tell her. She knew better. She was terrible. Tell your dad. Ask for his help. Talk to an adult you trust like a school counselor and they can report it on your behalf. Maybe try it this way. Go to the police, call them. Tell them what happened. And ask them to say that it was an anonymous call. The person won't be exposed. Imagine yourself in the injured kid's situation. What if something worse had happened? If his injuries were so severe that he could have died. You would have needed help. And someone running away from the situation and letting the person, to death, is not acceptable. This is a very dangerous game she is playing. What if it happens again? But more severe? Could you deal with the thought that she has not helped someone who could have survived? You are not at fault. You won't be if you call the police. But you will be if you don't. You need to do the right thing. Your mum broke the law and this kid could have died. What do you mean you aren't allowed to tell your dad lots of things? This sounds like a massive red flag. You should be able to tell your parent whatever you need to. She sounds like she has a lot to hide and you should go to your dad for support instead of bottling it up because your mother doesn't want to look bad. Not your fault. Tell your dad. And the police. Your mother turned an accident into a crime. That the kid is in the hospital shows the damage she has done. Her insurance would have covered the medical bills, but now the victim's family might be bankrupt if they don't have decent insurance of their own. It was selfish of her to expect you to just act like her crime was nothing important. She has no integrity. You obviously do. Tell your father, and ask him what you should do. You're too young to be shouldering this kind of secret on your own. Listen up, kid. If she gets arrested, it's no one's fault but her own. Tell your dad and the police. Your mum could not have known if she'd killed the kid or not. That is wrong on so many levels. No one deserves to be left on the road like a roadkill. Tell on her. Whatever happens to her, please know it's not your fault. I strongly believe you should tell your dad or another adult you trust. First off, oh my God, are you okay? I would be freaking out and I'm an adult. Your mother should not be forcing you to keep things from your father. That sound extremely unhealthy, and very worrisome to me as an adult. Please talk to your father about what happened. Someone needs to go to the police, but not you, because you're a child and should not have been put in this situation in the first place. I really hope your dad steps in ASAP. Honestly, it's difficult, but I would say yes. Your mom was trying to avoid responsibility. What will you do the next time she doesn't look where she's going? I'm not sure how the legal system works where you are at, but if I were you I would report it. Not the asshole. If I tell someone, Mum will probably get arrested and then it'll be my fault. No, it'll be hers. You did nothing wrong. You can't kill the messenger. Don't blame yourself for talking about her actions. You didn't do them. You are just the messenger. I wasn't even allowed to tell Dad about it, but him and Mum are divorced and I'm not allowed to tell him lots of things. Just a quick question. What does this mean? What kind of things are you not allowed to tell him? Also, please tell your dad about this. He can support you and help you through this. It won't be your fault. The fault lays with your mom. Tell your dad and the police. You need to tell someone, otherwise this will eat at you for years to come. Tell an adult you trust and go from there. Write down her license plate number. Call the police and say a woman matching X description in X make and model hit the kid. Stay anonymous. This is wildly irresponsible and illegal of your mom. She's also made you complicit in her illegality. Please seek the help from a trusted adult at school who will report it on your behalf. Do not sit on this. It was her choice. There's a difference between doing what is right morally and what is right for you. Morally, yeah, your mom did a hit and run and should go to jail. Is that going to be good for you though? Sending your own mom to jail? That's a life-changing event. Nothing will be the same after that. Don't listen to the people commenting here. Think about whether or not you want to uproot your entire family to do the right thing. Life isn't fair, but the other kid isn't dead. Make a decision based on what you want to do. Every fucker here is all, you need to do the right thing, it's morally right, but guarantee they wouldn't shop their own mum. Don't do it, sounds like he's fine anyway. Why would you send your own parent to jail? You need to tell your dad and not feel responsible for any of the consequences that follow. Your mum is an adult who knows what she should have done and didn't. Any consequences she faces from now on are from her own doing. This is way too much for you to be dealing with. And completely wrong of your mother for many reasons. But your father is there. Talk to him. Tell him how you feel about everything. And hopefully he can fix things for you. He might be able to figure out a solution that works for everyone. I'm not allowed to tell him lots of things. Am I the only one concerned about this part? I am sure the police are having neighbors' businesses check their cameras for your mom's car plates. You might want to let your mom or dad know to turn herself in now. With technology today they will find her. Jesus, this is like the beginning of Dead to me. Ugh, I'm not one for snitching. But if kiddo is in the hospital, do it anonymously. However, honey, there will be such a backlash to you from the kids in your school. UGFH, this a lose-lose situation. NAL, but I am concerned that you could be charged as an accomplice if you know of a crime and don't report it. Because of your age, I don't know how the laws in your state apply to you. But if you were an adult you could absolutely be charged as an accomplice. This is a good question to pose to our legal advice. Your mother almost killed somebody. Call the police. Yes. Report her anonymously. Is there any adult you can trust who will help you do this? They can be anonymous too. One thing to point out here. All those self-righteous people here are saying, what if it was you, and do the right thing. While this is nice and all morally, when you are not in the situation, it's way different when you are in. That may be morally the right thing to do, but you will have to think about the real world. What will happen if you report it? You will face some very, very real consequences as an aftermath. Are you ready to blow up your life to do what's morally right? That's way too much to ask from a teenager emo. Also, I can guarantee you that in your spot, 95% of the people that commented here would have a completely different stance. Tell your dad. You need to report her. I know it sucks because that's your mom, but what she did is illegal. Luckily she didn't kill the other boy. Even if it was the other boy's fault, she should have reported this immediately, or at the very least check to see if he was okay. Report her, it's the right thing to do. If she gets fined jail, it absolutely would not be your fault. She should have been the adult in this situation and called the police, ambulance. Wow, this is a hard question. Morally, you should call the police, but it's hard when it's your own mother. First time I find myself torn on answering a question. I definitely think your mom should have stayed behind, but I don't know if I'd be able to call the police on my own mother. Also, everyone here saying they'd call the police on their mother is lying. It's a tough decision. One that eats away at you. I'd call your dad and ask for advice. Your mom hit a child with a car and for all she knew she left him there to die afterwards. You're probably not safe with her either. Can I just say that you sound like a good kid? Not easy considering the example set by your mom. Keep being morally upright, I highly admire you for it. A lot of people just blindly take over the morality of their parents. If this happened at school, there's cameras there to see what happened, right? You read stories about how people hit a critical point in their lives and how their choices at that moment shape their future. This might be yours. Whichever choice you make, you're gonna live with it for a long, long time. Make sure you're comfortable with the repercussions. The fact that you're of a higher moral standing than your mother says a lot. Why not tell the kid who got hit? Let him decide. Man, y'all are some idiots up in here. You know how easy it is to read this situation and be like, yay, your mom almost killed someone, call the cops on her right now. This kid is 14 and making a decision that will 100% result in the removal of your parent for an uncertain amount of time is not as easy as, what she did was wrong and should be reported. This kid is debating losing his mother and y'all are just acting like it's such a simple decision. Seriously, fuck some of y'all. Well, if you do, she will go to jail. Your mom did do something really, really wrong. This is an impossible situation for you and I'm so sorry. I would call, but I already have a poor relationship with my mother and have for a long time. Also, that guilt won't go away until you do something. It may never go away. It depends on how much you have compassion and consideration for the person your mother hit. What feeling towards your mom do you have since this event? Also, that last line, what other things does your mom ask to keep secret from your dad? Doing the right thing would be reporting the accident. Your mom absolutely did something wrong, so in a way she's right. You call the police when someone does something wrong. She's just in denial that she did. I would absolutely tell your dad. He likely will phone the police, but even if she got arrested, it is in no way your fault. Leaving the scene of an accident is much worse than calling immediately, and that's on her. Also, your mom sounds toxic as hell. Some people actually on here like, don't do it because family. What about the kid's family? Some of y'all need help. If you don't like your mom, then call the police. If you really love your mom and will do anything for her, still call the police. I think it would be better if you could convince her to turn herself in, as it would be easier for her to go through that. Is there anyone else at home that can look after you if your mom is arrested? Has she been in trouble with the police before? Think about these things before you tell anyone. You have to tell an adult about this. Not necessarily your dad, although it could be him if you think he is a reasonable kind of person. Otherwise, I would suggest a counselor at school. They can help you navigate all this. This is way too much to handle for a 14-year-old. Oh, heck. I'm 33 and I would probably be as helpless as you are in the same situation. I, 25 male, have a lot of respect for you for even considering this. You obviously have higher morals than your own mother. Talk to a trusted adult and remember, you'll be a better adult when you grow up than her. Even if she's arrested, it's unlikely she'll be in jail long since the boy is alive, and that's not your problem. Your mother is a very poor role model. I'ma just go ahead and call this out as being a fake story. This is so sad. I'm sorry you are going through this right now. Doing the right thing can be hard. It may feel like you are betraying your mom, but I think it's really important that you get your dad involved. Sounds fake.